Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Riveme.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of superhero television or film. And this week we are talking about the Karate Kids spin-offs.
Ooh, you really saved that.
That is Cobra Kai. Totally how I meant for that sentence to go.
Andrew's working on these new Captain Kirk
Oh,
pauses.
it's how I talk from now going forward.
It won't be terrible.
No, we're talking about Cobra Kai.
We're talking about season 3 of Netflix's Cobra Kai.
That's right.
It's very exciting. Our first time covering Cobra Kai. I am thrilled. If you missed it, we covered Karate Kid on the Patreon. So
That's right. That's why I had Karate Kid on the brain.
We had a nice little personal build-up to Cobra Kai for us.
Full of karate. Just full of karate right now.
We're full of kicks.
We're uncomfortably to the goddamn brim with karate in this household.
I'm full of karate, and just in the last few minutes of Cobra Kai, Phil Collins. It's a crazy
karate and Phil
combination.
Collins. It's exactly.
I am shaking with energy.
That's what you want. That's what you want.
So let's kick the comedy up a notch.
Yeah. Specifically the comedy.
Well, we can't kick each other. We could.
Yeah.
Should we? Shall we?
But like the metaphorical quality of the podcast could have been the thing, but specifically putting the pressure on jokes was a bold move.
Well, let's kick up the analysis.
You just speak for yourself.
All
How
right,
about that?
I'll kick everything up.
You kick it all up. So we're talking about Cobra Kai season 3, the Netflix original, the formerly YouTube original. When YouTube was like, "We'll make shows," and we were like, "Will you?"
What if we just put every show on you and you don't make your own?
How about that? Stay in your lane, YouTube. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. But before we get into Cobra Kai, we want to thank our sponsor of this week's episode. You know them and you love them. It is tpublic.com.
Oh, it's tpublic.com, where you're going to get your next favorite t-shirt or tank top or hoodie or anything else you need a cool design made by an indie artist put on that you want, like a phone case or a laptop case. It's so many cool things to get designs on at tpublic.com.
It's a great website over at tpublic.com. You're going to want to check it out because all of the designs that you're going to find there, you can get it on the plethora of products that Diana mentioned, but also all of the designs are submitted by independent artists who are getting a commission for their work. So when you grab one of their designs, you're supporting an independent artist. When you grab it from our storefront, you're also directly supporting this podcast as well. So you're going to want to check them out because you'll get cool, fun designs. Like there is a shirt simply called Karate Kid, and it is even though the shirt's called Karate Kid, it is a Cobra Kai t-shirt that has the Cobra Kai logo on it in like a fun 80s style, which I really like.
Oh, we're crushing 80s style stuff because my shirt is another 80s property that's been rebooted recently. So I got a Bill and Ted shirt, and it's Bill and Ted, and they open up their time-traveling phone booth, but Superman's in there changing because I also love a mashup.
We love a good mashup here.
I love a good mashup, and you're not going to find that anywhere but tpublic.com.
So you're going to want to head over to tpublic.com, find your next favorite item, accoutrement, your clothing, whatever it is, your accessory, whatever it might be. So to get that, head on over to tpublic.fromsuperheroes.com, which is our storefront over at teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. When you shop there, you support the artist, you support this podcast, you get a fantastic new product, well made, well priced, shipped right to your doorstep. And thank you, TeePublic, for your support.
Thank you so much, TeePublic.
And now let's get into the episode. Let's talk about Cobra Kai Season 3.
Kicks.
All right, so we have watched Cobra Kai Season 3. Let's start with the simple question. Diana, did you like it?
I'm going to give this a love, even though there's some parts I would wildly change, which is weird for me. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this a love based on how excited I am to watch every new episode, which is high, very high. I have a lot of fun. The things I don't like still like shock me and like in a fun kind of way. And the things I love, I absolutely adore. I think the relationships on some of these characters are so good. The comedy is so much better than the drama. If I could have just almost all comedy, it would be almost a perfect show. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give Cobra Kai season 3 a love. And I think that also includes kind of the other seasons too. It feels very much similar to 2. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a love. Andrew, have you been enjoying Cobra Kai?
I think I'll also give it a love. I'll give it, a soft love. I think it's not quite as good as season 2. I feel like I like you. I do want it to be mostly comedy, and it loses a bit of the comedy for some self-seriousness this season, which at the same time, it is very over the top and hammy and too much in a somewhere in between soap opera and wrestling kind of a way.
Oh my God, wrestling is such a good comparison.
Yeah, and wrestling is just a physical soap opera, and this is a karate soap opera. So it's somewhere in that wrestling soap opera, that type of energy where it is very heightened, very over the top, very extreme and silly. I really enjoy yelling at the TV while watching this, talking aloud at the characters and the plot lines. It is absurd. It is dumb. It is purposefully so, nailing it. So I do love it. I absolutely love it. Would like a little bit more comedy, which I think season 1 and 2 had. But still, it is a dumb, fun, trash soap opera that I cannot get enough of.
Absolutely. I think the biggest compliment I can give Cobra Kai is that I, in 10 episodes, didn't look at my phone once. Like, even during the parts I didn't really like, I'm so engaged. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I guess, we're talking about spoilers, it's fine. Like, everything with Kreese in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I don't really like these really dark parts all that much. And if they're going to do them, I wish there weren't so many different kinds of dark parts.
Right.
Because we've got 5 different really dark things happening this season. So I would like some more of the comedy. But goddamn, the comedy hits so hard, and then suddenly it's just silly and slapstick, and you're so relaxed, and then a really dark part will hit you. You'll be like, oh no, wait, there are stakes. Why are there stakes in my silly comedy show?
And I don't mind the stakes, but they are there a little too much. I would say the low light of this season to me, and it's not necessarily on the actor or the writing of the character, but it is Kreese, just because it makes everything so extra and so much. And I get that they're trying to kind of shake up the previous 2 seasons and add a little bit more of the original movie and the original, lore. I'll use softly as the word, but it is just too much for this. And the show worked as a show about 2 families. And I get that they need a bigger villain to unite them, but it was too big. Way too big. So I think Kreese might be my biggest problem with this season.
See, in concept, I think Kreese is a great idea for a villain they can both get behind hating. But yeah, he has been taken too far. Every episode is the finale of season 2 with him. The finale of season 2 was such a shocker because it was the first time there was real violence with real consequences. And then the second Kreese shows up, it's like, oh, there's real consequences every day. We're going to eat hamsters. We're going to break arms. We're going to do home invasions. We're going to kill each other in Vietnam. And it's just a bit too much for this fun, silly, teen drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, those heightened or over the top moments, they can work and they can go places. One of the things that I really like about this show, and this might just be a me thing or my age and what I'm into, is that whenever I've been tried to get someone who is around my age to watch this show, my barometer is, did you like the OC? Because it is the OC with comedy and karate. And if you liked the OC, literally to the point that the first 2 seasons of this show, it is the plot of the OC. It is a bad boy kid from the other side of the tracks who gets pseudo-adopted by the rich family and then gets wrapped up in the drama of their school life to violent and extreme ways because they're like a cool badass. It is the plot of the OC.
But with karate.
Yeah. The LaRussos are just the Coens. 100% the Coens. And I dig that. I liked the OC. That was a dumb soap opera. That was the right kind of fun. This is that too, but with karate, which makes it much more fun.
I didn't watch the MC, not because I liked it or didn't like it. I just didn't watch. Oh, the OC. Sorry. What did I say?
You said MC.
Oh, the old MC.
Yeah, the old MC.
The old MC OC. I didn't watch the
I see you played old MCOC
Okay,
before.
You won that round. Way to go.
I've played.
You've played. So yeah, I didn't watch the OC, so I don't know if that's a good barometer for me. But just from what I know of the OC, I think it is, because I feel like it was a lot of teen drama and what you just said, and then every now and then you get in what you say with a gun.
Yeah. Marissa shot a guy.
You get in what you say gun scene.
Yeah.
Which feels very much also like Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Poor
so
man's Tom Hardy tried to beat Ryan to death, so Marissa shot him with a gun. Like, it is insane.
Andrew's not over it, guys.
There's a lot going on.
So I get what you're saying, but I think your earlier comparison is better for me because I loved wrestling. I kind of tapered off in more recent years of my life, but I used to be super into wrestling, so I love the dueling drama parts. But I really like when it's more like wrestling in that like we attack each other, but no one's hurt. Like I found the kid getting thrown through the window in the finale way more appealing than Dimitri getting his arm broken. Even though getting thrown through a window is bigger, the fact that he just got right up and he's like, that was crazy. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like comedy, fighting, dueling. And then Dimitri getting his arm broken was like genuinely upsetting.
Oh,
he was begging for mercy.
We'll save that for a minute, but like there are straight up just crimes, just criminal crimes, like felony level crimes that happen in this show.
And I almost wouldn't mind that there are crimes. There are so many crimes. Like the cops should be involved way more often.
Right.
And I wouldn't mind if the cops were literally never involved. If for some reason this is a world that is not run amok in chaos, but there are no cops. But the fact that we've involved the cops like twice makes every episode be like, why aren't we calling the cops again? Like, Robbie went to jail, and Kreese got a restraining order, and Mrs. LaRusso also got a restraining order. I'm like, so we know the cops' phone numbers.
Yeah.
We are cool with cops taking care of this problem, except for every episode where it would be inconvenient.
And if we're going to have cops be involved, they need to do a The OC with it, where the bad boy character who's on probation and has had trouble with the law is always the one getting into trouble with the law, even when it's not necessarily his fault because he has a secret heart of gold. But someone else had drugs on them, but he took the hit because he's already the bad boy in Black Sheep. So why some classic stuff.
Andrew's bringing his own shit to this episode in so many ways.
It is classic teen drama writing, all right?
It is teen. I feel like we have to review the OC or something. You got to get this out, man.
There's some old energy pent up inside me.
Andrew, pre-podcast, couldn't review the OC, but now you've got a podcast. You're like, it's my time.
I gotta get into it.
But
it's not fresh enough. I'm forgetting plot lines all over the place, you know? But yes, the cops they're on the radar of the police.
Yeah, the fact that, we won't get into the actual event, as you said, but like the fact that Robbie goes to jail.
Fuck it, we're in it at this point. Let's get into the event.
Robbie goes to jail for kicking Miguel over a thing, then Hawk should be in jail for the arm break. Like,
yes.
Those are quite equal things, especially because like Robbie did it kind of like in the middle of a fight and Dimitri was begging for mercy. That's just assault.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Like, and you can't cover that up. Like the bruises and stuff you can cover up. You got to go to a hospital and get it cast. The cops would be involved. He seems like a guy who has parents who would really care.
Yeah, because they all have parents.
They all have parents.
Like we've only established.
Robbie should be the only one who is getting into
That's
trouble.
right. We've established like the LaRussos and the Lawrence and Johnny Lawrence. And other than that, every other kid is just a roaming kid with no parents whatsoever who care about them or notice them in any parental way.
And the only one who's explained is Tori because her mom is on
mom's sick or
dialysis and can't
yeah.
leave the house. So I'm like, okay, I get why you're just running amok, Tori. You have no oversight going on. But the rest of you...
Oh, like there are characters where you can explain that. To be like the ringleaders or the troublemakers, they are like that and here's a reason. But you can't have it with all of these kids. And that's why like last season... Yes, that school fight was an insane thing to end with. They end with a riot in a school, essentially, where it's a school-wide karate match, and Miguel gets paralyzed. That's the end of the last season. It's the biggest thing that's happened so far at that point. And everything else had been like, granted, as now us adults watching it, it's all assault. But it is playful, TV-friendly, in an homage and warm style of an 80s teen movie type of assault, which
In the
I know is a
80s.
weird gray area to try to exist in, but we all know what I'm talking about.
This show exists in the world of the 80s movies where assaults were okay. Bullies could just attempt a murder without repercussion.
Yes.
So this is the same city, it's the same world. I can kind of get behind that a little bit.
Yeah, and then sometimes they hit that right level. Like even this season, there was a point where one of the Miyagi-Do guys is working at the carnival or at the Ferris wheel amusement park.
Golf and stuff.
The old golf
and stuff.
And the Miyagi-Do person is in charge of the prizes. And then the Cobra Kai jerks come in and they steal a stuffed toy and they get into a light tussle. And that is some classic teen hijinks right there, to the point that, like, if I, an adult man, was that kid's boss at the golf and such, I'd break it up, be like, what is going on here? And I wouldn't even fire him. I'd be like, these are some classic teen hijinks. And you get a warning, but if this shit happens again, you're fired. And other kid, if I see you here again, I'm calling the police. But I would just let kids away with a warning if I was the manager of the golf and such. And that's the right level of hijinks, I think, for the show.
That was the exact right level. Like, when we got to that episode and they just were like stealing some tokens and taking some things, I'm like, okay, this is the level of bullying that I'm not stressed out about, which is what I don't want to be, which is stressed out about these children and their PTSD that some of them obviously have from the riot. So yeah, that was a good one. What I really liked that I found very relaxing was that once they fought at the school, they could not fight at the school again. So I really liked seeing them try to bully each other, and you couldn't get physical at school. Which, and maybe sometimes that's worse because then it's mental bullying. But like breaking the Lego thing, having very physical soccer matches.
Yeah.
Because it was like bullying, but I could be relaxed. I'm like, you're not going to kick someone else off a balcony or you'll be expelled. So I really liked that school was a safe place for a few episodes. That made me very relaxed and more of what I wanted from this show in terms of like creative bullying. You really had to come up with a way to bully without just going straight to your fists.
Right, without becoming a gang, which they become. They become a full-on gang.
Yeah, they do a home invasion.
They do a home invasion, series of assaults, massive thefts as well. They become straight up a gang, to the point that there was a movie that I watched, and I think you only seen a few pieces of it. But that Jesse Eisenberg won the Art of Self-Defense.
Oh, yeah. I watched like the last half hour with you.
Which is actually a pretty good movie. It's a very dark comedy about like what if Fight Club was just a karate dojo, and that is the level of like psychosis, kind of male ego stupidity that feels like it would be real for a Fight Club. But that is the level of dark that this gets sometimes during this season. Yeah. Is that like murderous, we've created a cult at a karate dojo.
I mean, honestly, at the very end when they just suddenly came to do a home invasion and like murders, like they're there to kill them out of nowhere with no prompting, like there's been no build up to this, because at least the school riot, I felt it was building to that. Like Tori like makes an announcement, you know why she's mad. Like everything felt like it was building at the end of season 2. The end of this season, I'm like, you guys have been chill for a really long time. You feel more like the gang from Clockwork Orange, just dressed up like skeletons, assaulting people to assault people. I'm like, you can't root for any of these people ever again.
No.
Because in the season 2 finale, you're like, I can root for some of these people again. Like, I'm not that mad at Robbie for kicking Miguel off the thing. It was a heated moment. You're both fighting.
And it was clearly a huge accident. Like, Tori is fucked. She did try to do a murder right at the end there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she tried to do several murders. She's completely irredeemable. She just full-on trumped this riot. She was like, I incited a riot. I will take no responsibility for it.
She did too.
I'm the leader of the riot. Yeah. I don't think I should face any consequences, even though I did it.
She got on a megaphone and basically said, let's riot. But because it was coded dog whistle language, no one was able to hold her accountable enough. Yeah.
She got a little slap on the wrist, but she's not in jail like Robbie.
She didn't go to jail. She got expelled, the school equivalent of impeached. Like, it is straight up oddly similar.
And then she went back to her cult.
Fuck me. This is weird.
Her cult.
This is weird now.
She wears red.
So, yeah, that the school riot was insane, but reasonably so. And I agree with you. Everything's escalating too quickly without these little punch-ups. And that is the other big problem that I want to talk about with this season is that it's lost some of its comedy. And by losing some of its comedy, its villainy and its like big fights and stuff are not as well motivated, because that big school riot or the karate tournament in season 1, obviously it's ridiculous, over the top, high drama. It's already too much. But why it's believable and enjoyable to get there is that this whole show has been a comedy of errors. It's been little oopsies, and a lack of communication caused them to escalate with one another. And comedy of errors are fun and clever, and they are tricky to write. But like, a comedy of errors would be a simple thing of like, if I was like, I love this sweater, and if anything happened to it, I would lose my mind. And then when I leave the room, Diana spills wine on it. But then she has to like go get it dry cleaned. But I come back and I think she stole my sweater, and now I'm mad at her because of an accident that you tried to clear up.
And then I hide it in the bedroom of the boy from the wrong side of the tracks.
And it escalates and it escalates.
And he gets in trouble again.
And the boy wears it, and I see him wearing it, so now I think that you stole it and you gave it to him. And it's just this comedy of errors that builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. But this season feels, to use that kind of example, it feels like if I was like, I love this sweater, nothing better happened to it, and then someone just broke down my door and shot the sweater with a gun, and I'm like, well, this escalated. This is just straight violence that escalated from nothing.
There is nothing to interpret here. This is just a police report waiting to happen. This isn't Danny and Johnny two sides of a story.
Yeah.
Which is like what they genuinely seem to have. Like, they both think of their past in different ways. This is just Cobra Kai is assaulting people.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And it's too dark. I think the one that was way too dark for me was the landlord who wanted to have sex with Tori. Because she is verifiably in high school.
Yes.
She is a teen.
Even if she wasn't.
Even if, it's bad no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not what you want.
It is an extortion sexual assault. It is not good.
It is
but also with a minor.
It's extra not good when it's a pedophilia minor
Yes.
situation, statutory rape thing. Like, this was so dark, and it didn't have any kind of interesting payoff. Like, Kreese just took care of it, and I kind of even not wanted, because I don't like the storyline at all, but I almost wanted her to, like, say yes, not do anything, but record their agreement and be like, you're going to go to jail, and I'm not going to pay my rent.
Right.
Like, something, I wanted her to be clever about it at least. I'm like, if you're going to make a gross storyline, let it help highlight the character.
And Kreese threatened him, but he's still there.
The landlord.
He's still there every day. And the weird thing about escalating it this far is in season 1 and 2, we have kids who sometimes kick each other. And you shouldn't kick a person.
Don't you kick.
Don't kick a person. That's bad. But in season 3, we need to all agree that this is a universe that hasn't invented the gun yet.
Yeah, like, is this set in America or not?
Because in season 3, there is a sexual predator, minority assaulting scumbag landlord who Kreese is like, I'll cut off your finger today. And he's like, I'll never crime again. And we just assume it's fine. And that's not a dude who would later go to Cobra Kai with a gun. Johnny and Daniel.
If that's how John Kreese died, I would love that.
Like a reverse Indiana Jones. Like, he's the guy with the knife in Indiana Jones who just gets shot.
And then random landlord is just dead.
Daniel and Johnny track down a bunch of car thieves to an illegal chop shop. That is legitimately an underground gang operation that they break up with karate. One of them has a gun.
There's definitely a gun in there.
These people have guns.
Anyone who will attack you the second you've walked into their criminal establishment has a gun in there.
Yes. And I am not encouraging gun ownership or gun violence, but we need to acknowledge that they exist in a world that you can't beat with karate. You just can't.
This is a world where the only guns are in the Vietnam War. And that's when you will get killed with a gun.
Even then, the only murder we see John Kreese do is with karate in Vietnam.
We see him do a karate karate kill in Vietnam.
We see him witness gun murder. Yeah.
His friend is killed via a gun. I think my favorite it's the only maybe acknowledgement of guns, and it's so dumb because after the riot, they go to school, and you have to walk through a metal detector now. But the riot was karate.
Right.
There was not a gun riot. It was not a knife riot.
Uh-huh.
They are the weapons. This metal detector does nothing.
Yeah.
So the metal detector is my favorite. Like, everyone who did the riot has to walk through, and they're like, all right, you're safe. And I'm like, their bodies did the fight.
And I don't want to get too dark, but I'm going to get dark for a moment, which is that we also need to really agree that this show exists in a universe where the gun hasn't been invented. Because there are points where John Kreese is like, let's just embarrass and viciously beat these children, because one thing we know for sure that a child has never done is bring a gun to a school. Ooh. Like, that is the crazy thing, is that, like, it's not just between the karate people. Like, they are bullying and beating other people senseless to the point that random kids, their response is to join Miyagi-Do. Mm-hmm. But, like, people are getting viciously attacked and destroyed. There could be very dark repercussions of this.
I almost feel like that should be a storyline where someone wants to bring a gun to school, but then they join karate instead. Like, they're convinced to learn self-defense instead of bringing a gun. And that's why karate's good, because it stops you from bringing a gun to school. Would be kind of how you might play that.
Question mark?
But I mean, it does highlight why they put the metal detectors in.
It does highlight it. I know that that's a dark place for me to go and bring up on a Cobra Kai episode of the podcast. And I wouldn't have brought it up in seasons 1 and 2. But in season 3, when they're like, watch the snake and gun murders in Vietnam. Also, we do full-on assaults. And also, there are pedophiles out there. Watch your backs. Then maybe I need to start acknowledging that guns exist. Look out, everyone.
Yeah, season 4 is just Cobra guns.
Something needs to happen.
We've moved up to guns.
Let's talk about some positives.
Oh, I would love to.
Because I think we started with some we admitted we loved the show. Then we started with some negatives. We had some goofs. We got a little too dark. Let's go into some positives. I would say Amanda LaRusso, first of all. Daniel's wife.
Oh my God. She has been so perfect since day one. Because what is so great is that, like, this show is, it's a sequel to Karate Kid. And everyone in the show is kind of on this same level of, like, karate is very serious. Our feud is very serious. We take it very seriously, even though it's funny. And she's just this outsider who brings in this, like, joyous but joyous perspective of, like, you guys having your dueling karate dojos going on right now? And, like, she's not mean about it, but she's not nice about it. She's walking this perfect line. She's so good.
Slightly condescending, but in a fun way, in a way I encourage.
In an understandable way. Her grown husband is in a feud.
She's the voice of the audience. And I love that, of her being like, really, you two? Still with this? It's karate. Like, no one gives a shit.
The fact that every time they meet someone new, she's like, did you know they have a dueling karate? Because, like, when they're on the date with Carla in season 2, she's like, they have a feuding dojos. And then this season on the date with Allie, she's like, did you know they have dueling dojos? She won't stop bringing it up, and it's so funny.
Amanda LaRusso, 2 wines in, being like, did you hear about their dueling karate dojos? Is a fucking mood, and I love it. I love it.
I'm not usually entertained by Wine Mom.
Yeah.
She makes Wine Mom work.
She does.
She makes Wine Mom work. I would listen to Amanda LaRusso's podcast.
Both in writing and performance. Like, the writing of it, it's so smart to be like, we need a character who's the voice of the audience. We need a character who every once in a while is like, call the police. We need a reasonable adult who wasn't involved in this bullshit in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And she is that. Perfect. Smart writing, great character to have around. And her performance of it and comedic timing is just flawless. Like, she owns this character so well, and it's so charming and vibrant. I love it. She should be in every scene.
I absolutely adore it. I'm really glad they didn't just say she was like Allie from the first movie and, like, saved Elizabeth Shue for season 3. And they're like, no, Allie is Elizabeth Shue. This is just a brand new character. She wasn't there in the 80s. She's taking this in with fresh eyes, letting them know they're all being ridiculous. There was one moment this season that I kind of liked, because then they kind of pulled back from it, when she like went to see Kreese and she realized how dangerous he is, and she was like, oh no, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
This is serious. Okay, I get it. And then Daniel's even like, oh, you get it now. You get it?
Well, I think there is a charm to that for her to be like, I met Johnny. I'm not worried about Johnny.
No,
Johnny's dumb, but just leave him alone and Johnny will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But meeting Kreese to be like, oh no, that man is terror.
Mm-hmm.
That is terror.
Yeah. So I liked her being kind of involved in the plot to get rid of him just by like buying out his dojo and stuff. But then she kind of like pulled back to her old place for a little while, especially when the meeting with Allie and stuff. She was just like, I'm not involved anymore. Whatever. I got a restraining order, so I'm out. Yeah, she's perfect.
I also totally forgot when we were talking about plot lines that are too dark and why are there no guns. The slumbag landlord, or the slumlord, who is the dirtbag slumlord, who brings like his thug nephews, strong-arm nephews, to throw Kreese out because he only does handshake agreements because he is doing some illegal shit.
I don't know how you just do handshake agreements at a strip mall.
Yeah.
That's too big a business. Like, that's not even residential. Like, people have a business license and a handshake agreement?
But either way, he's beating up and forcefully evicting tenants in blackmail scenarios.
Yes.
That is someone who comes back with a gun.
Yeah. He doesn't just get on the phone. He gets on the phone immediately to Mrs. LaRusso, maybe. But then, unless his nephews are dead, I don't think they are.
Or they're cool with it.
Yeah, they're coming back with bigger weapons, more guys. They're going to wait till Kreese is asleep. They're going to burn that dojo to the ground. Like, they're doing something.
In a show so set on revenge, everyone is so focused on revenge for the slightest mistake of the past. Everyone who have had true crimes committed against them or who commit true crimes are reasonable to be like, you know what? It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
I'm not going to send Hawk to jail for my broken arm. I'm going to forgive him the second he turns on Cobra Kai. It's all good stuff.
But I didn't mean to. I went back to negative. I apologize. We were talking about Amanda LaRusso being terrific and her trying to buy out the dojo, but recognizing that Kreese is a lunatic.
I mean, I think I was kind of done on Amanda, unless you had more to say, because I wanted to get to my favorite parts.
I just think she's flawless.
Oh, she's perfect.
Tell me your favorite part.
Oh, my favorite part of this season, and I think the previous season every time, is Miguel and Johnny. This is an absolutely iconic comedy duo that I've never seen before, where kind of the adult is the comedic one and the kid is the straight man, but he's also good at comedy. And just, God, the hijinks they get into, like Johnny trying to get him to walk is, again, it's physical and it's violent, but it's like funny because he's never actually hurt. Like putting him in the harness, lighting him on fire to make him walk. These are all great Johnny moments, but the best moments are when...
And again, heightened soap opera. Like, that is something I would see at WrestleMania. Like, a wrestler who was fake paralyzed is lit on fire and then learns to walk.
And then the ref is like, hey, wait a minute.
Total heightened soap opera. Fun. Like, violent if you look at it too hard, but it is the right kind.
And just perfectly encapsulate who Johnny is. Like, the fact that he won't listen to the doctors. He's like, if you just put a porn magazine on a string, you'll be able to walk again. Like, Johnny, you're such an idiot, but your heart's in the right place. Like, it's so perfect. But the best comedy by far is every time Miguel has to teach him something about technology.
It's perfect. Johnny's the right kind of idiot. He's the most delightful to watch kind of idiot.
There has never been a character who didn't understand technology written like this. In an actually funny way. Because every time it's someone who doesn't understand technology, it's like a grandfather who's like, you don't know what books are because you're always on your phone. Or like it's always just cliche and boring. But Johnny not understanding technology is so different than every other not understanding technology. Like asking how long it will take his Facebook message to send to Oklahoma.
It's really good. Him not knowing how long a Facebook message should be, liking all of her photos, everything with Allie was just charming in a you poor idiot kind of way. you want him to succeed, even though he is a jackass.
He thought his computer was broken because he never plugged it in after the battery died the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just gold moments. And like, that's the comedy I miss. Because you don't even get that for like 3 or 4 episodes because Miguel's paralyzed and in a coma. It's very dark. And then it kind of loses it the last couple episodes of the season as well. But there's like a sweet spot, like 4 episodes in the middle where he's trying to get him to walk. That is the perfect comedy of this show.
Yeah, I fully agree. These two are so charming together, and they are the heart of it. As much as this show is the fucked up present day Karate Kid. Like, yeah. It is what is the story of the fuck-ups in present day. The shitty dojo, the dojo that was the bully, the guy whose life's not going great. It is the bizarro Miyagi and Daniel. And they really have that type of charm parental relationship. I believe it. I buy it. And I buy that Miguel looks up to him as a sensei and a father figure that, 30 or 50 years from now? God, how long has it been since the Karate Kid?
It was in 84.
40 years. Or a little shy of 40 years from now. That Miguel would look at a photo of Johnny Lawrence the way Daniel looks at a photo of Miyagi.
I don't think he's ever going to look at a photo of Johnny Lawrence.
Because Johnny doesn't have good photos.
With that same kind of reverence. Oh, Johnny had some great photos.
He's got thirst trap photos. He doesn't have black and white frame it in a dojo photos.
That's why you're not going to get that reverent look. Because you don't want to look at 18-year-old shirtless Johnny Lawrence and be like, yes, my great sensei.
Thirst trap ass.
When he asked him if he had one where he had a shirt on, and it was like ripped to still show his ass.
The deepest V-neck you've ever seen.
Oh my God, it was so fucking... I'm just picturing that on the wall of a dojo in 30
That would be
years.
good. It's like, you were in karate tournaments. There's got to be a karate photo of you, my dude.
No, it's just those 3 that he took on the rocks that day.
Another positive of the show. So I agree with you. Miguel and Johnny, so charming, so fun. Amanda LaRusso, perfect. Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, just always good.
Breezing through for 1.5 episodes and just perfect.
Just perfect. We loved her in Karate Kid when we reviewed it. I mean, she was great on The Boys, which we've been watching for a few seasons now. It's so good to see her here. She's just still so cute, so charming, so perfectly wholesomely wantable.
Yeah.
But also you believe she is fixing these relationships and has this nice outsider perspective on both these guys to kind of bring them together. It's a really great plot point, and it's great to see Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah. And as a plot point, her as the binding agent, it works so well to be like, you're both idiots. You both hurt me. Who cares? It was ages ago. I'm not still mad about that. What is wrong with you two? And yeah, to be delightful and charming throughout the whole thing and kind of tie up Johnny's conflict with his romantic interests as well. I think it does a really good job of that. And yeah, just such a charming performance. She hasn't missed a step. She just came back feeling like that character. And, we're a bit younger than Elizabeth Shue, but like really hitting that, I think, human and actual reality reflective on the high school experience perspective. Because obviously the way Daniel and the way Johnny look back on high school is not the way 99% of us look back on high school.
No, they are too focused on it. They can't let it go. They're absolutely trapped in their high school experience.
They've based their life on it. And for some good reasons at times. It is when Daniel met Miyagi and his father figure and mentor who set him on a certain path in life. So to certain extents, there can be like positive reasons to dwell on it. But even with positive reasons, dwelling on it in a way that most people don't. And Elizabeth Shue as Allie just kind of coming in and hitting that really human, real world perspective of like, once you hit a certain age, this is how you look back on everything from that era, to be like, there wasn't friends or enemies. There was just a bunch of us being idiots running around. And I just remember that you were part of my life. and I don't really care about the breakup or the drama or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't burned every detail into my brain like you guys have of every single encounter. And that is, you're totally on the money about how my favorite part is when she said, like, I think it's Daniel who's apologizing, and she's like, we were kids and we were idiots. Like, yes, we can let all of this go. You were idiot kids. Maybe not. The kids currently are going a little too far, maybe. But, like, you guys were just misunderstood idiot kids. And they're, like, you can't be mad at things people did in high school that weren't terribly awful. So, yeah, she brings such a good perspective of how actual people respond. And I love that she gets along so well with Amanda, because they are the exact same in that way, where Amanda has been bringing perspective for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Elizabeth Shue, it was really nice to see her. I'm glad they finally got her after 3 seasons to come in.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. Any other big positives for you?
What are my other big positives?
Because I got a couple of, like, goofs. I don't know if I have any other big positives. Of the kids, Miguel is hands down the best actor.
Miguel is the best actor. He is the most, young Daniel from The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And we can get into this in a second. Ralph Macchio is such a worse actor now than he was as a kid.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's so stiff now. He really feels like he's reading.
Completely lost all ability to be what Miguel is now. He was in the 80s. Like, Miguel is fun and charming. You believe that he can unite all these people. He's a good comedic actor. He's good at the drama. He's good at giving speeches. He's good at karate. Yeah, I love this guy. I think he's, like, my highlight when he's with Johnny.
Right.
I do have another highlight that I think might be controversial. I've really liked everything with Daniel in Okinawa.
Oh, I did like it. I did find it silly the whole time to be like, you've left your wife to run this goddamn dealership again. Frankly, I don't think this is your business. This is like, you don't run a car dealership anymore. Sign everything over to your wife. You run a karate dojo. Your wife runs a series of car dealerships, and you have no business in that plot line.
Let that woman on the signs, because they're all Daniel.
But other than thinking about Amanda the whole time, I did like that storyline. I thought it was
good.
fun.
I'm glad. Yeah, it was so interesting, considering we haven't seen Karate Kid 2, so I really appreciated the flashbacks of who everyone was. I think I saw it as a child, but I don't really remember it. So it was cool to see all the flashbacks. I actually burst into tears during the Mr. Miyagi letter scene.
Holy shit, that was good.
That was really good. I mean, I think I just ragged on Ralph Macchio for not being able to act, but that scene was really, really good.
I think that scene was carried on a lot of the emotion of who that character was, and also kudos to, I forget the name of the character, and I don't have the actress
I think she was Kimiko, because it was like the same as Wolverine's girlfriend.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she did a phenomenal performance, and I would actually say carried the scene. Like, she teed up everything for Ralph Macchio to... All he had to do was just kind of bunt it. She was really giving a lot and was a phenomenal performer.
She really was. I mean, it's also got to help that the letter is from an actor who has passed away that you also were probably very close to.
For sure.
Really channeling, like, missing Pat Morita, I assume. So Kumiko. So yeah, it's very similar to the Wolverine character. So yeah, she was great. It was good to see her. It was crazy that he had another fight to the death in Karate Kid 2. And now we're just forgiving this guy as well, who straight up attempted some murders.
Also, great performance from this fucking guy who does comedic intensity really well.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, and it's a one-note character. It's a character I am glad is not around for the full season, which might be a bit of my problem with Kreese, is that if Kreese was here in the same capacity as this guy in Okinawa, where it's like, you are comically intense. Like, it is hilarious how fucking serious you are taking every second of every day, and you play that really well. Maybe I'd like Kreese a bit more. But either way, he did a great job. That was a fun little side adventure in Okinawa.
Yeah, so I really liked all the Okinawa stuff, and I especially liked the if you do good things will happen to you theme of that, where the woman who saves his dealership is the little girl he saved in a typhoon. I think that was a wonderful full circle storyline. It just made you, it genuinely made you feel like you should do good things in this world.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair-
so that's what I really liked about the Okinawa storyline.
yeah, it works. You should do them just for the sake of doing good
Also
things.
if you see a little girl who needs help in a typhoon, please save her no matter what.
Even if she's not going to be the executive of Doyona.
Doyona!
Doyona. Let's take a second to talk about Doyona. Doyona.
We had to turn on the subtitles.
I thought I was
to make
having a
sure
stroke. I was
we
losing
were
my mind.
Going insane.
Doyona.
Doyona.
So the plot line was they were going to lose, their dealership was failing because another rival dealership got the exclusive rights
To
the Japanese car manufacturer Doyona. But they would say it quick and mumble it, and I don't think every actor agreed on the fake pronunciation of Doyona. So I think some of them were like Donyana or like Danyana, and so they were all pronouncing it differently. We had to turn on subtitles, and we were like Doyona, which is absolutely hilarious.
And then I Googled it in case, because we were like, maybe that's like the subsidiary that owns Toyota. Like maybe there's like another company that we don't know about. And the first Google result for Toyota is Cobra Kai season 3. So it is a fake business.
Doyona is the funniest thing. Because it is normally the uncanny valley is reserved for like human-like appearances, but it's just such a almost a word. It is in the uncanny valley of words where I'm like, I know the word you want to use.
You want to say Toyota.
Yeah.
You can't. But this is what's so wild about Toyota to me, is that in this show, and even in the car dealership specifically, there is so much sponsorship.
Thank you.
There's an Enterprise rental. There's a scene about how you can rent a car at Enterprise until your other car is ready. Just a little sponsorship scene for Enterprise. And they couldn't get an actual car company to be like, yeah, you can say the name of our company.
Absolutely. The product placement in this is possibly like top 10 most obtrusive product placements in it. It's not
What were the other ones?
It's not just a character drinks a Coke. It is the other one, which was huge, because that I found huge, was Crystal Light.
Oh, yes.
So a random member of the karate board comes to visit Daniel, and Amanda LaRusso says, "Can I get you a drink?" To which he says yes. She brings over iced tea. She says, "Here's your iced tea." And the literal dialogue, he drinks it, he says, "This is great, amazing, the best iced tea I've ever had. Can I get your recipe?" And she goes, "It's Crystal Light." And he says, "Wow." That's the fucking scene.
Like a Truman Show ad within your life is happening for some reason.
So Truman Show, if you just cut the Crystal Light part, you don't need to know the show or context. It actually works as a 15 to 30 second TV spot just for Crystal Light.
It's kind of brilliant because Netflix doesn't have commercials. So they're like, what if we put the commercials in the show?
As obtrusively as possible. Crystal Light, Enterprise. There was one other one. I forget what it is now.
There was another car one. Was it a coffee or something? Because there was two at the dealership, but I can't remember what it was.
I can't
But
remember.
there was some, yeah.
I think Nespresso at the dealership was a big one. Yeah,
Nespresso.
the rival dealer says, like, "I can't believe you've just got one of those pod ones. I've got the brand name Nespresso, and people line up for Nespresso." Like, oh my fucking
Yeah,
God.
that was a big one. Yeah. So to have so much product placement and not be able to get a car company.
And it's such a big plot line. And
I guess it has to be a Japanese company for him to go there.
And not only, I guess. But there's other Japanese auto manufacturers.
Are there? I don't know where they all come from.
I don't know. I'm not a car guy, but there's at least a couple. And not only is it so key and right for the picking for product placement, it is already very positive of the company that is made up that was right for the product placement. The whole storyline is California is so crazy for Doyonas that your dealership will go under if you don't have the premium Doyona automobiles.
And also it's good for them because the storyline is quite understandably Doyona doesn't want you as a dealership because you start school riots.
Yeah.
And I think that would be nice if that was a real company who was like, we don't associate with the school riot people. We're against riots at schools.
It's too
totally understandable.
It's too close to Toyota.
Why didn't you want to do this?
But if they just changed it to a wildly different thing. Imagine that same plot line, but it was like, it is Komatake automobile manufacturers.
I'd be like, oh, that's not anyone I've heard of. Cool.
And it's not Doyona
And
is the most distracting thing.
Oh, it takes you so out of the scene every time they say it. You're like, oh, I'm watching something fictional. I don't care for that. I want to believe I'm watching the real story of Daniel LaRusso trying to save his car dealership.
It is so fucked. I feel like there's a chance that they did the scenes saying Toyota, thinking they had locked down a Toyota sponsorship. The contract fell through, and the actors had to ADR themselves saying a mouth word that was like looked and fit the timing, and they had to go with Doyona instead of Toyota because the lip sync would match.
That is very possible. I feel like was there any Doyona signs when he went to Japan?
There is, but after you film the show, they can still
fix
just
it
post.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that would make the most sense than just making up basically giving them promotion, even though they clearly didn't pay for the promotion, but you had companies that did pay for promotion.
Yeah.
So just free promotion for Toyota.
Just at that point, just give it to Toyota.
Just give it to them for free.
Just let Toyota have it. Just let the Toyota have it. Come on.
Oh my God. So ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I love this ridiculous show. I want to shit on it, but it's so stupidly fun.
You have to keep watching it in the weirdest ways. I'm like, everyone's bad. They should all be in jail. I have to accept that they won't be.
Yeah.
The only person who has to go to jail is poor Robbie for some reason. And then he has like the saddest turn, I think, on the show. I'm really not rooting for Robbie at this point.
Yeah, he has a sad turn, and frankly, he's barely in this season. He is in jail. He has a couple scenes where he gets beat up. Kreese visits him, and then he's just at Kreese's place later. And that's kind of it. Like, he doesn't have a storyline. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job of building his arc at all because he paralyzes Miguel. He doesn't write Samantha back, like, at all the whole time he's in jail. So she, I think, presumes they've broken up because he won't contact her in any way. And then when he sees them sparring, he tries to attack Miguel again. The last time you saw this kid, you paralyzed him. You should be apologizing to this poor guy. There's no way to root for Robbie.
Yeah,
this season.
And even most of Cobra Kai, I think they really tried very hard, and maybe they'll stick the landing on this next season to seed in that Hawk was beginning to question himself all season and still did horrible things, but they really tried to seed that in. And that's going to be a hard landing to stick next season if they actually want to redeem this guy, in my opinion. But with Robbie, it's just there was no attempt. There was no remorse from, frankly, any of the characters from Cobra Kai about almost killing, putting in a coma, and then almost paralyzing this child. They're just back to karate. There is zero remorse from anyone, and that might be fine for like do or die. I'm a Vietnam vet with PTSD, Kreese, because that creates a level of. That is a level of psychosis that only Kreese has. And these children, not having fought in Vietnam and witnessed the murder of their friends, aren't that dead inside to, even with like a weird cult leader, not feel some guilt or remorse.
I think I get what you're saying. I think Hawk I actually find quite understandable. Because the second Miguel got hurt, Miguel was his friend, he wanted revenge. He didn't feel guilty because he was like, I'm going to avenge Miguel.
Right.
Because Miguel was Cobra Kai. So his story actually made the most sense to me, and I think had the most arc of like, he thought he was getting revenge and doing it for Miguel. He realized he was doing it all for the wrong reasons, came back to Miyagi-Do and the good side. So I think he had a good arc. Yeah, everyone else should have been like, oh shit, we are getting hurt. We're hurting people. Our friend is paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Hawk, they did the best job of being like, this is for Miguel. And he was good friends with Miguel, so that made sense. But I didn't get the sense anyone else cared about Miguel.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
And
enough.
you would think Tori would feel bad for starting the riot.
Tori should feel bad. She attempts to do murders several more times.
She is pretty far gone.
She's a murderer.
Yeah, she should be with Kreese. She makes sense with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she does, and I think she's the only one. So it's a little strange. Yeah.
It's a little strange. Yeah, Kreese doesn't have many fighters now because he's got Tori and Robbie are kind of the only ones now. Everyone else went to the good guys.
Well, he's got that
Like
he's
people
got
we
that
care
wrestler
about.
kid. Oh, that we care about.
Yeah, like he's got the new tough people.
Oh, I honestly think that next season Kreese's dojo might explode because all he's got are a bunch of stuntman scrubs.
They are 30 years old.
Kreese has a dojo filled with 30 to 40-year-old stunt people and Tori. Is it
And
Tori?
Robbie. Yeah, Tori and
Tori
Robbie.
and Robbie. And that is it. And Robbie, being Johnny's son, we're going to have to redeem and get out of there somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Tori is a villain who showed up too late in the game. I think she showed up like mid-season 2 or whatever. Tori will be like the one that maybe we care about when Cobra Kai explodes or whatever, or due to the gas leak or whatever goes wrong.
Tori might actually die.
I think Tori could easily actually die and Kreese goes to jail or leaves town because there are no, and all of the kids, not only is it none of the named characters, all of the kids now who go to Cobra Kai are recruited from around the city. Like they don't go to school with the other kids.
The Asian kid does because he was in the cafeteria food fights and stuff, and he picked on Hawk. But I don't think the rest of them do. We've never seen the rest of these people. Yeah, it's
just stunt people scrubs.
I am very confused about. We're talking about like how you should feel guilty and like why are you doing this. I don't know what Kreese's motivations are. Like. He only just brought up winning the tournament now. He obviously wants to go to the tournament, but he doesn't just want to have like the biggest dojo because he kicks out half of his paying students if they're not strong enough. So I'm like, what do you want, Kreese?
I don't know what
Like,
he wants.
He's too villainous because he has no goals.
Right.
His goals are to make a strong team that can beat up other kids. And I'm like, what kind of goal is that? Why don't you want financial success or like what are you trying to achieve here?
He wants to bring his army buddy in?
But that's
not anything.
That's not an end goal.
Yeah.
That's just making another like I would love it if he fought in the tournament. Like
Right.
It's not an under 18 one because I've been in tournaments where there's senior sections and like adults fight. So like I would love if they actually were like we're solving this in the tournament and Johnny and Daniel literally have to fight Kreese.
Right. This is a tournament where we have a 70-year-old fighting a 50-year-old.
I'm cool with
Or
it.
a 60-year-old, I think is what Ralph Macchio might be now.
Ralph Macchio's in his 60s.
Yeah, looking great for 60.
Holy crap, you look amazing, Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, lost a bit of the acting charm over the years, but
Kept that face.
Yeah, he's got a portrait of Dorian Gray somewhere. He's doing terrific. And frankly, most of the adult cast is actually.
I mean, Johnny's quite old too. And
Yeah.
He looks incredible.
Absolutely. William Zabka looks great. Elizabeth Shue, obviously gorgeous. Like all of them haven't lost
honestly,
a beat.
considering how old Kreese must be, because he was an adult in the '84 version.
Yeah.
he looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doing
this,
real good.
This cast aged wonderfully.
Kreese, like the actor who plays Kreese, is old enough that he is the one person that did not learn a single stunt. You could notice that and really feel that in the fight scene where it was a oneer, but it only happened behind Kreese's head.
Yes, I did notice. That was the only time I noticed like stunt doubles going in, because you have to say even. For like Johnny and Daniel, like they are in their 50s and 60s. It's pretty amazing they're doing all these stunts.
They're doing
and learning
pretty
this
good.
choreography and doing all these kicks.
Yeah, and especially for like guys who haven't permanently been badass action stars who keep working. Like there are guys their age doing really crazy shit. Like Tom Cruise is getting fucking old and he's jumping out of helicopters and shit.
But he's always been doing crazy
Yeah,
shit.
Keanu Reeves is like learning new gun kata that he's willing into existence for every John Wick movie. But that is a lot of money and a career that has never stopped. But yeah, for these guys to kind of pick up where they left off and kind of rock pretty hard.
Yeah, I think Johnny especially, like Daniel does a lot of hand blocks, but Johnny does a lot of kicks and spins, and like it's actually the actor, and I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
Although I assume he originally got the role because he already knew karate back in the 80s.
Probably.
So he might have kept it up without being like a leading man action star all these years. Like, I do martial arts in the park every now and then. You kind of just go with the flow, but it's still, I don't know if I'll do it when I'm 60.
Yeah.
When I'm 60?
Yeah, and I doubt Ralph Macchio kept it up, because like that's got to be impossible to keep up without making a huge deal of it. If you're the fucking Karate Kid, you can't be like 30 and go to a dojo and be like, can I just crank out some karate without it being just an obscene ordeal.
Yeah, you'd have to have like a personal trainer would be the only way you could keep doing karate, or like a real small class of like friends, because it would be just a photo op every time he tried to do karate after being the Karate Kid.
I like this show.
I like this a lot. I'm actually really looking forward to the next season, because I feel like if the tournament is the goal, it might be a little more chill. Because I feel like that was what I really liked about the Karate Kid movie. Once they had determined that they were going to solve this at the tournament, they didn't beat Daniel up anymore.
Right.
So I really hope there's a little less darkness next season.
And a little more like trainee montage, which is part of the fun charm of this show.
Love a good training montage. I mean, like Daniel and Johnny will butt heads on how they train, and they're going to have different techniques. And Kreese will probably eat a snake. I don't know. He thinks that will give him the snake's power.
He's insane.
Robbie's
gonna have to escape. Maybe he'll do a murder on Tori. I don't know.
Oh yeah, something's gonna happen to that kid. I mean, he lives at the dojo, so if it does explode like Game of Thrones style with the big castle in that one season, that's what I'm picturing.
Blow the whole thing up. It's gonna be interesting.
Gas leak, not even intentional.
No,
just Kreese isn't paying rent, so there's no maintenance guy. So there's just a gas leak.
The slumlord comes back and just wants insurance money because this extorting broker of illegal fees doesn't give a shit about anything.
He's definitely not paying rent anymore.
No.
So.
All right.
It's all profit now.
Well, that is Cobra Kai Season 3. I'm looking forward to Season 4 as well. I think it's only got one good season left. You can't keep this momentum and style forever.
Yeah, I think next season should be its last if they are ending on a tournament. It's got to be real, like, this is how we do things in the Karate Kid. The tournament is the end.
Yeah, and a real meteoric rise for the show as well. It's
Holy crap.
a show that started out on YouTube television. Season 1... liked but not watched by many because people didn't realize YouTube had its own shows, to move to Netflix, and between season 2 and 3 become wildly popular. Like, huge success story for the show.
It's kind of cool, yeah. Season 3 was like the #1 trending show when it came out. It was all over Twitter. I don't know anyone who didn't watch it.
Yeah,
it's wild.
All right, well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? If you could change anything about the show, what would it be? But before we do ask that final question, we want to remind you, as we do every week, to please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your fine podcasts. We appreciate it greatly. It helps us move up the charts. It helps us get discovered by new listeners. A lot of you right now might be listening because you found it on one of the podcast providers. So you know for a fact that that's how it works.
Oh, you guys know the power of the review. You definitely checked them before you hit that play button.
Some of you know the power.
You could have that power.
For those of you who don't know the power, trust that that power is there. And you have the power to, in a completely free way, help this podcast grow and expand. And that is... That is the only way we grow and expand, because we don't have an advertising budget. We don't advertise this show anywhere else. So the only way that we're going to be found is through the algorithms of the podcast apps. And also, if you share this podcast with your friends, share it on your social media, tweet about it, whatever social media you do, spread the word. That helps us find new listeners. So take a second today, do a free thing to help us find new listeners.
Help us out, guys. Yeah, we're From Superheroes on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere. If you don't want to make a post, retweet or reblog one of our posts.
Yeah.
We made the post for you. Hit the button. It would actually help us out so much.
The social media providers made a button. It's one button. We made the post. They made the button. You click button. You've shared the button.
And if people were like, oh, they like that enough to share it, going to listen to it, it would help us out so much. And
And yeah,
Our tweets are good.
our tweets are also good.
We got good tweets.
And leave a review. You know all the stuff.
All the stuff.
And if you want extra content as well, you can get bonus episodes of this podcast. We did the Karate Kid as an exclusive episode over on our Patreon channel. So Patreon, it's 2021. You're familiar with it. It's a monthly subscription service where you can sign up to the online content creators you know and love and get cool bonuses for doing so. For our hero level patrons, which is $10 a month, you get an exclusive episode of this podcast just for our patrons every single month. This month we did Karate Kid. When you sign up, you get immediate access to the back catalog, over 50 episodes, just there, ready to go.
Waiting to go. More talk from superheroes. And it is 2021, but we do have a new thing because now you can get a yearly subscription and you get 1 month free when you sign up for a whole year at one time.
1 month free, fewer transaction fees. Everything is smoother and easier. So you can sign up for a full year if you want to support the podcast for that long. And as well, you can contribute at any level that you want. It doesn't have to be $1 a month or $10 a month. It doesn't have to be yearly.
We got all the bucks.
You can choose whatever is in your budget, and if your budget changes, you can cancel or you can change your donation level at any given time if you're doing the monthly level, so it's no real concern. So check it out. Whatever is in the budget. If every listener of this chipped in $1, literally it would completely change our lives. Turn it all upside down.
But if it's not in the budget, do not worry about it. We're good, but if it is, check it out.
If it is,
if you want some more stuff from us,
head on over to patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That's patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And now let's go in for the final question. Let's ask, what would you change? Diana, what would you change about this?
My change, we would lose some of the dark stuff. I don't think we need any flashbacks to Vietnam. This shed no light on who Kreese was as a person. It was just very dark and unnecessary. I also want to get rid of creepy sex landlord who wants sex from Tori. Made me very uncomfortable on this fun teen drama. And for my storyline change, I think I need a lot more build up to the final fight at the house, because it seemed super unmotivated. They are trying to recapture the fight at the school over again, but the fight at the school built on something. Tori and Miguel and Sam were in this love triangle, and they were tensions were growing all season. It felt way more motivated, and this just was a straight up home invasion attempted murder. There wasn't anything.
It's so unmotivated. They literally kicked down the door of another scene.
Yeah, so it's too much, and they needed to build up the tension more to feel like this was building somewhere. I think the only person they did a good job with was Hawk, for his storyline of building up and changing and actually getting there. Everyone else, it was really unmotivated. I didn't care for it. It just made me uncomfortable. You weren't yay, a big fight's happening. You just felt bad for these kids who were being bullied. So yeah, my big change is they needed to find another way to motivate this final battle. I think maybe if they'd all tried to go to the same party at a third location or something.
Ooh, yeah,
would have worked better instead
work.
of just a home invasion. If they were some that moon girl maybe could have been having a party.
Yeah, because there's a few characters that just kind of disappear.
Yeah, and they aren't in karate.
And she was dating the tall, skinny kid, Dimitri. Yeah.
If she'd been having a party and they all just showed up and then a fight broke out that way, I think it might have made more sense, but also more build throughout the season as well. So that's my big change. Less dark, more build. Andrew, what would you change?
Love and agree with those. Less dark, more build. Flawless.
Less dark, more build.
I'm fully on board. What I would have liked them to have done this season, which is something they set up and I think kind of dropped, maybe just because of how long they were able to get the actor who plays Kreese. But when they first introduced Kreese last season, it was mid last season, I think they introduced him.
Yeah, about mid, yeah.
They imply that he's not a Vietnam vet and he's a fake.
Do they? I don't remember that.
So there's a whole scene where one of the kids, I think it actually might have been Miguel, who's telling Johnny, you need to watch out for him. He's not who he says he is. So Kreese is talking about regions of Vietnam that he fought in and served in. And Miguel was like, I've actually been studying Vietnam for history class. That's not a region in Vietnam. That's in Thailand. And Kreese is like, oh, I forget sometimes. So there are a couple of times where Miguel catches him telling made-up stories about Vietnam. So I thought where we were going with this was that he's not even a vet. Because the photo of him previous to this season they introduced this photo of him with his two buddies. It's just him holding a gun in front of a prop tree.
That's my favorite photo because it's him holding a gun, and the caption on the photo is Vietnam Karate Champion.
Yeah. Perfect.
It's the only gun we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, so there are guns. They do have guns. You're right. So they have guns. Okay, but they were setting up this plot line that he is a liar and a phony and not what he seems.
That would be a great way to get his students to turn on him.
Absolutely a great way to get his students to turn on him. And a great lesson and moral as well, to be like, these students are being radicalized by a false prophet, like this like false idol who has made up stories and pretended to be something. And it would also kind of say something about just this macho bullshit attitude that everyone has, to be like, it's phony. It's all phony. He's not actually a tough guy.
Yeah,
like,
actual tough guys don't seem tough.
Yeah, they don't go around telling you how tough they are and about how you need to be tougher and you're too soft and weak. That's a bully. And I think them realizing that would be important. And it would be a great story for this, frankly, cult-like status that he has created with these children. And if you're going to have him create a cult, have a lesson about a cult leader, to be like, they are hollow and false and their promises are not reality. You need to fulfill that. Whereas as it is right now, even though his promises are like mean-spirited and shitty and sometimes crimes, they are reality. Like, he promises these kids, like, do this and no one will pick on you anymore. And they don't. Go commit this crime and I'll appreciate you. And he does. Everything he does is fulfilled. And in terrible ways, but he's a false idol. And I think if he was a fake vet, that would be so good.
I love that because it's a really good way to get rid of Kreese in a non-violent way. Like, we don't just have to beat him up and then he, like, goes to the hospital, he's in a coma or something. Like, we can remove his power by removing his followers. I think that would be an incredible change. And I don't think they're going to do it. It almost feels like they're writing around it when they had the line in the flashbacks, like, we're doing off-the-book stuff and they're not going to be, like, records of it. So he could have gone to Thailand and he's just not allowed to talk about it and it's off the books. But, yeah, the flashbacks really have taken away the possibility of this.
Yeah. And I can't remember the lines exactly, but last season there was...
Miguel was like, no.
Miguel was catching him lying about things that he'd done and places he'd been and, like, timelines where, like, I think he said something like, I was there in this month. And, like, Miguel was like, that month, actually, that region wasn't in the war yet. So, like, little shit like that I thought they were seeding up. But that's what I would have liked. I want to see him be false.
It's a great change. That would have been incredible. What a wonderful way to get rid of Kreese. Well, that's sad. That's not going to happen now. Now I'm just sad.
Yeah, because we saw him and, you know what? Fuck it. The flashbacks were a lie. I don't care. Just do that in the next season.
They're just fake memories. His fantasy of what he went through. You think there's actually a snake pit in Vietnam that people have to fight over top of?
This whole show has since the high school accident.
So many snakes.
Since the high school accident, this whole show has just been the coma dream of Miguel. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
It's it.
I'm calling it.
What show? And, like, it's not the first show to do it.
No, I forget what show did it before, but it's a trope. Is what it is.
I mean, there was, like, the comedy was the very first one to do it. That Bob Hope comedy or whatever. I don't know. It's an old trope.
Well, the Bob Hope one was waking up and it was a dream from...
A different show?
No, it was Newhart. It was Newhart.
It was Newhart.
Newhart. It was a dream from his other show. So either way. Well, that's Cobra Kai.
That's Cobra Kai. It was all a dream.
Season 3.
Inception, baby.
It was all a dream.
Inside
a dream, inside a dream. We are going to be back next week on the podcast. And next week, we're going to be talking about The Watch.
Oh, the Discworld BBC show, The Watch. We haven't started it yet.
And also, I haven't read Did you read the books?
I've read, well, there's so many of them.
Right.
Did
you read all 300 of the books?
Oh, you know what?
I gave you that as research for the podcast. You've read all of the 3,000 books, right?
No, I read like one of them in high school, and I quite liked it a bunch, but I don't really remember it that well.
Okay.
I remember I liked it.
Well, we'll be learning from the from the jump.
Gonna be pulling some real old knowledge out of my head.
Listener, if you're a big fan of the books, we're going to be real off the mark if you're looking for that kind of heat next week.
Please don't listen next week if you're a big fan of the books. I think that would be upsetting.
Hey, if you're a fan of the books and have a great sense of humor about people knowing nothing about the thing that you like, come hang out next week.
If you want to hear a fair review of a TV show without any knowledge of the other properties.
Yeah, you know what? God damn it. That's
That's what we do.
We're doing fair.
We're basing the show on the show.
We'll see you next week.
See you next
Talk
week.
about the watch. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me on Twitter at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Karate.